Greetings and welcome to In-Depth. I'm Dike Rostant. The Ministry of Labor's On-the-Job Training Program has been nominated for the President's Award for Innovation and Service Excellence, or PRAISE Awards. Director of the OJT Division, Ms. Joann David, she joins us to discuss that and highlight some of the work being done. Established in 2002, 21 years in, how do you feel being at the helm of the organization, Ms. David, while it's being recognized in this way?
Thanks, BK, once again for allowing me the opportunity to speak about the OJT program and the work that is being done in the background. Being at the helm of the OJT program at this time is really an honor to be able to work with young persons within the communities to really try and provide them with opportunity. I like to go back to the real purpose of the OJT program, to provide opportunity for young graduates to be able to hone in their skills and give them some work experience in order to really transition to the world of work. So being honored, at least even being chosen at this point, for the recognition of the President's Award via the IDB, it is in really keeping with the hard work that the staff of the OJT has been doing for the last 4 years or so to really bring the program to that place where the brand OJT is one that is recognized, and for the good work that we do and for the impact that we make in the community to the economy of Trinidad and Tobago as it relates to workforce development and giving young people opportunities to transition into the labor market.
And I agree with you because everybody can win it, but they have to be doing certain things, like you said, in the background to be at a place to be nominated for an award like this or awards like this. But looking at that work in the last 4 years, as you would have itemized, given that idea of time, that time frame, how close is the mission of building the national workforce by providing recent graduates with relevant job skills through structured work-based training, mentorship, and personal development align with current reality?
But the current reality in terms of what the world of work needs in terms of skills and competencies, it is still in alignment. The program started in 2002, really looking at that gap. And the gap still exists because when they graduate, they are certified, but in a lot of instances not qualified, because they don't have that workplace experience. And it sometimes, as I said before, it does not really mean that it has to be that specific technical work experience. It is just about having those skills, those communication skills, those ability to deal with people and to deal with situations, sometimes difficult situations in the workplace, in the work environment, in order for you to be able to be successful. And that is what the program too aims to bring to them, allow them the opportunity to be in the space and to allow them that 2 years to be able to understand what the expectation is in the environment. And the program is still relevant from that perspective. And, the government sees it as an important program, because I like to go back to COVID when we were gazetted and the government said that the program is essential because of the service we provide, both to the public and private sector. And therefore, the relevance is there. It is just that over the last couple of years, prior to 2019, what I felt is that the program in itself, the brand OJT, was not recognized for its impact and for the good work. Yes, there are challenges, but go beyond the challenges and look at the impact of the program. When you go back to the basic objectives of the program, one of the things you see is to provide that work-based opportunity to match their certificate with an opportunity in the labor market, and to provide them with that employability skills to be able to transition into the world of work. So the real outcome that we look for or we achieve in some instances, probably not 100% based on what you're looking at, and that is just the reality. But we want to create a cadre of young people coming out of the program who are ready. They have the right attitude, they have the experience necessary, and they have the tools that can assist them to navigate, the work environment.
And I like what you're saying because some people have the paper, but it feels as though they just can't function. So those communications is last time one of the times we spoke, you spoke about those necessary soft skills. But in the mission, there is that reference to personal development. And what might personal development look like from an OJT perspective?
Okay, so I would just go to that personal development by saying within the last year, the OJT took some opportunities to introspect. We looked at the service delivery, and that is one of the reasons why the program was put up for this award. We really looked at what are those services that we provide to the stakeholders. And we look at what we expect the outcome to be. And we also looked at future work because the world of work is changing. And therefore, in terms of what the future work look like, what are those skills and competencies employers are looking for? We also took the opportunity to speak with our training providers, those companies, those employers, and we did a employability skill survey. And when that came back, that is what gave us the data we needed to be able to look at the curriculum development in order to look at those personal development areas. So we looked at some of the basics, the communication, the innovative thinking, your ability to problem solve. And those are the types of things we looked at our initial curriculum. When we place a trainee in a company, the employer, the company, the organization is expected to develop that technical skills framework. Because if we send in a mechanical engineer, we expect that the company in themselves will work with our training unit and develop the technical competencies for engineer that is supposed to be developed over the 24 months. But we also assist to look at the personal development. We create those webinars and we assist with the information sharing so that they would know what we're looking at. And one of the things I'm very always happy to talk about is the impact that our psychologists is helping, to bridge some of those gaps between their ability to function within the workspace, those anxieties, and to be able to provide the support system for them to allow them to develop their personal skills and coping tools to be able to deal with some of the difficulties they may face within the work environment.
But looking at service excellence from the program and the brand, it seems as though you're not just looking at building capacity within people who pass through the program to be placed locally, in the sense that holistic youth development from youth global development or developing individuals for global employment is something that you're also looking at. So how much of a focus is that at this point in time? So it's not just as though when you pass through this program, you can get a job here, as opposed to saying, okay, there's no limit to where you can set your sights.
And I'm glad you talk about that. Because as I said, we did the last year, we introspected and we developed our strategic aspirations, I should say, in creating our vision, mission, and core values. And in relooking our vision, we said is to create an opportunity to impact lives, to develop the future workforce by preparing new graduates for global employability. So it is not just the Trinidad and Tobago, in terms of its landscape, cannot provide a job for every individual that comes out of the school system. So that is one of the things we focus on, the entrepreneurship. We have also brought in part of our curriculum development and entrepreneurship component, a module where we allow you to see what those opportunities are for you to get into entrepreneurship if there is a business idea. And, we looked at the mission, and the mission is to build our nation's workforce by preparing recent graduates with relevant job skills through structured work-based training, mentorship, and personal development. So it is about the structure that we put in. One of the things, or I should say, a couple things we would have done within the last year also is to develop those monitoring and evaluation tools. When we put those trainees into the workspace, how do we monitor the training provider in terms of the relevant training that is happening, the quality of the training? One of those things is to improve the quality of the experience that the trainee is having. And, our core values, we would have looked at that also. And again, service excellence is part of our aspirations, because our core values, aspirations for the next 3 years is to increase the level of integrity in how we do what we do. Service excellence, that collaboration is important with training providers and other stakeholders to really bring that delivery of service and opportunity, because without the collaboration, we don't have enough opportunity for the training to be able to take place effectively and efficiently within the program. To increase our
And we're going to take this opportunity to take a short break. We're looking at the way that data-driven implementation can lead to impact and service excellence. We are having a conversation with Director of the OJT Division, Ms. Joann David. Stay with us. We return with more. Welcome back. We are speaking with Director of the OJT Division, Ms. Joann David. The program has been nominated for 2 praise awards. And looking at that, the program, what are the categories and what do you have to do to demonstrate to be considered for those categories, Ms. David?
The first category is service excellence. And what you have to do is really show how you are working towards. It may not be something that you have mastered, but you have to show how you are putting things in place to be able to work towards service excellence in the public service. The other award is the People's Award, and that you send out your link and you ask all of your stakeholders and supporters to vote for the OJT program for the People's Choice. So we have 2 categories that we would be looking to get the support in, and we hope that come next week when we get that link, we will be able to get the support of the general population. All of those persons who would have passed through the OJT program within the last couple of years and have gotten real value from the program, even those who may not have accomplished their expectation, but they would have come out of the program with some learning and benefit.
But remind me, there's about 25,000 people passed through OJT Division already. So imagine if each of those persons and 2 family members click on that link and deal with it, the People's Choice is yours.
So not even 25,000 BK, 2002 to 2023, over 200,000 persons would have passed through the OJT program in all of its incarnations. 6 months, 12 months, 24 months, over the last 21 years.
And that is nothing to sneeze at, but looking at the way, and you speak of the different incarnations, and that move to implementation that is more data-driven, you said that the survey was done. Please remind us of the need or why you said, okay, this is something that we want to do. We want to get the information to move from a point of information.
Because one of the things you want to do is make sure that your decisions is one that is based on information. You want to make just those choices in terms of what you present to young people. It is what is needed. And, that is one of the things why we decided, one, to incorporate, that situation where we are engaging our stakeholders to be able to look at what the labor market needs are. We looked at it locally, regionally, globally, but we did the survey with our providers, with our 1,400 or so providers who are currently providing that support system for our OJTs to provide the training. And that is one of the things. One of the other things we would have started to look at is our spread of trainees in the communities. How much trainees do we have in Tobago? How much do we have in the West, which takes up the Diego Martin, Port of Spain area, Sandy Grande? So we looked at our spread of trainees and we started to do some regional assessments because, again, you have that cadre of young students who are in those areas who may not be able to travel far out of their region to be able to get an opportunity in the OJT. So that is one of the reasons why we also do those regional assessments and we engage accordingly. One of the good things within recent times, probably within the last 2 years, we have started on a platform of graduate programs. And those are very specific. And most of it comes from those persons who come out of the universities with their technical degrees. So you find that we have gotten those engagements with NGC and NEC, PPGPL, TOSL. We have gotten that framework that we have now created for graduate programs. So that helps to get those technical trainees into their specific spaces to be able to get that 2 years practical experience within the OJT program. And one of the things I say to my staff, I compliment them all of the time, because even during that COVID period, when we were deemed essential, with all of their anxieties and with all of their challenges, they were here. And during that 2020 to 2023 period, we would have provided new trainees with an opportunity for training. 9,606 trainees were placed during that 2020 to 2023 period decade. So it is not an easy feat. And we continue to work. We continue to work.
And you said you complimented your staff, and I want to compliment you and your staff and thank you for the work that you are doing and continue to do. But give us a little idea about the feedback in the last minute and a half we have of this new approach over the last 2 years, data-driven, in addition to anything else you want us to remember about that link, voting people's choice, and just closing comments. Thank you.
What I would want to say is that there are challenges, but when we send out that link next week, what we want the population to look at is the real impact that the OJT program continues to have. Credit us with, over the last 4 years, we have been working to improve that quality of training that we offer to the trainees that come through the program. And our focus remains putting the trainees to the center of what we do. So in that data-driven approach, that approach to future work, that approach to looking at workforce development and what that means both to Trinidad and Tobago and regionally, the quality of the training is at our focus. And therefore, we ask you to give us our support, or give us your support for the People's Choice Award. And we say to the judges that there is no other choice but the OJT program for the service excellence for 2023.
Well, there's nothing to add to that, Ms. David. So we want to thank you very much, Director of the OJT Division, Ms. Joann David. looking at the fact that they've been nominated for 2 praise awards. That's President's Award for Innovation and Service Excellence. On behalf of the entire TTT News team, this has been In Depth with me, Dike Rostant. Thank you so much for joining us.